Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the elect of Israel. Now, I want to share an article about this story I was watching on the news. It's about the doomsday clock, which is this symbolic clock that counts down the time to the destruction of humanity, or really the destruction of this kingdom. And this article is about it being moved just 2.5 minutes from midnight. Midnight symbolizing this kingdom's destruction. And this is from the Washington Post, and the title is "The Doomsday Clock Just Advanced Thanks to Trump." It's now 2.5 minutes to midnight. It's now 2.5 minutes to midnight, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, which warned that the end of humanity may be near. The group behind the famed Doomsday Clock announced at a news conference that it was adjusting the countdown to the end of it all by moving the hands 30 seconds closer to midnight, the closest the clock has been to doomsday since 1953, after the United States tested its first thermonuclear device, followed months later by the Soviet Union's hydrogen bomb test. And announcing that the doomsday clock was moving 30 seconds closer to the end of humanity, the group noted that in 2016, the global security landscape darkened as the international community failed to come effectively to grips with humanity's most pressing existential threats: nuclear weapons and climate change. But the organization also cited the election of President Trump in changing the symbolic clock. Making matters worse, the United States now has a president who has promised to impede progress on both of those fronts. Theoretical physicist Lawrence M. Krauss and retired Navy Rear Admiral David Titley wrote in a New York Times op-ed on behalf of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. Never before has the Bulletin decided to advance the clock largely because of the statement of a single person, but when that person is the new president of the United States, his words matter. So that's all I'm going to do on this article, and I'm going to bring a couple of scriptures out, because like I was saying, midnight symbolizes the end, and it's very spiritual, because in the scriptures we find that midnight symbolizes the end in a lot of instances. So I'm going to bring out the first scripture. I'm going to pull this down and bring up the blue letter. Give me 1 second, let it load up. And we're going to go to Matthew. And we all know the parable of the 5 wise bridesmaids and the 5 foolish. We'll start at the top. Matthew 25:1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. We all know the wise bridesmaids symbolize the elect, and the unwise will symbolize the 2/3. And the bridegroom is Yahweh Shai. At midnight a cry was made, and he said, go ye out to meet him. So Yahweh Shai came back at midnight. The height of the darkness, the height of this wicked kingdom, is symbolized right here as midnight. That's when Yahweh Shai is coming back. So they got this symbolic clock with midnight meaning the end. They just don't know how much on the money they are. The wise men of Edom know that their time is getting near, because at midnight going to be the end of this place when Yahweh Shai comes back. We're going to jump back to the Old Testament and go to Exodus, and I'm going to try to jump straight to the point. It's Exodus 12. And this is about during the time when the Lord sent the angel of death throughout to smite all the firstborn. This Exodus 12, and I'm going to jump right to 29. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the cattle. So that's another instance where at midnight the Lord sent out his destruction. We're going to jump to Job 34 and go down to verse 20. In a moment shall they die, and the people shall be troubled at midnight and pass away, and the mighty shall be taken away without hand. So that's another instance of midnight marking destruction. So when that clock hits midnight, that symbolic clock, that's going to be the end of this damn place. They can tell that the time is coming to an end. That's why they just pushed it 2.5 minutes to midnight. We almost at the end. And I'm going to leave with one more scripture. We'll go to the book of Mark, chapter 13. And we're going to jump down to 35. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. So I just wanted to go through a couple of these scriptures, man, about the end of this so-called white man. And they can feel it and they know, because the wise men of Edom just pushed their doomsday clock to 2 minutes to midnight. So at midnight will be the end of this so-called kingdom, and when the bridegroom Yahushua be coming back. So if you get a chance, just check out that article. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.